Alma Wade Origins, Explored, F.E.A.R. Games Creature. F.E.A.R. is a horror game series that was perplexing to some, off-putting to others, and adored by others who liked the creepy little girl stereotype. Not just via movies, but also through games like the Fatal Frame and Silent Hill series. The world of the frightening young girl has found its way from Asia to Western viewers. By the time we met Alma, we already encountered Samara from The Ring 3 years before, and Yuko and Toshio from The Grudge, a terrifying mother-son combination. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the said character, let me give you a short intro about her. Alma Wade is the primary antagonist of the F.E.A.R. series, and a strong psychic who seeks vengeance on the Armacham Technology Corporation for using her in a series of brutal experiments and covert projects with the goal of commercializing her abilities. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Alma Wade Origin, a circumstantial victim, not villain. We should begin at the beginning to convey the narrative properly. Alma Wade has a pale complexion, dark eyes, and dark brown hair as a little kid. She is different from the other kids, keeps to herself most of the time, and is a natural at hide and seek. She was born on August 26, 1979, and while she made it through the birth, her mother did not. Alma has weird and uncommon psychic skills, which result in her having nightmares nearly every night. She can sense the most unpleasant emotions of individuals around her, which she has no control over or ability to turn off. Armacham Technology Corporation, or ATC, is intrigued by her. Alma's psychic powers are put to the test, and she acquits herself admirably. She is also subjected to tests as ATC tries to figure out where her abilities come from and what they can achieve. She is nevertheless a bright little lady who, at the age of 5, begins to employ strategies. She deliberately fails examinations in order to make the business lose interest in her and stop researching her. When that fails, she sets fire to one of the laboratories. The scientists who are studying Alma begin to have nightmares and mood swings, as Alma keeps attacking them. Armacham needs to figure out how to manage her abilities as quickly as possible. She is taken into Project Origin when she turns 7, with the goal of creating psychics from a single original source. Just days before her 8th birthday, Alma is put into a coma and imprisoned in the Vault, a circular facility concealed within the Origin facility, a secret location. Alma's talents are mainly intended to be blocked by the Vault. This happens because the tiny girl has finally taken her first life, giving Armacham a reason to confine her in order to keep themselves safe. Alma is still experimented on while imprisoned. She even gets pregnant with cloned embryos created from her own DNA joined with that of Origin members, including her father, Harlan Wade. When she is just 15 years old, she gives birth to the first prototype, the Point Man, and a year later, Paxton Fettel. When Alma's mind unites with Fettel's at the age of 10, the first synchronicity event occurs, forcing ATC to shut down Project Origin and pull the plug on Alma. Alma's life support is turned off in the Vault when she is 26 years old, leading ATC to assume she has died. According to Harlan Wade, her physical body has died 6 days after life support was removed. Still, her psychic energy lingers long after her heart stops, propelled by the anger of her angry, rageful soul, according to F.E.A.R. 2, Project Origin. Her spirit, however, is still trapped inside the Vault with her corpse, and she remains essentially inactive for the next 20 years. People in the vicinity of her body begin to feel uneasy or unwell during this period, and the place is finally abandoned. Employees at Armacham, terrified of Alma's abilities, seal down the facility where her body is kept, refusing to reopen it until 20 years are gone. Despite ATC scientists' warnings that strands of Alma's mental talents may still be alive 20 years after her death, ATC President Genevieve Aristide reopens the Origin facility. She dispatches a team to examine the facility's state. Alma kills the squad, and the team vanishes. Genevieve sends a second crew, but they disappear as well. Genevieve locks the facility after realizing that the reopening of the Origin site has somehow reawakened Alma's soul. A few days later, Alma comes to Fettel and causes a second synchronicity event, prompting Fettel to go rogue and seize command of a replica army. Fettel tracks down and murders Charles Habiger, whom he cannibalizes in the hopes of obtaining his victims' thoughts through their flesh. He and Alma learn of a study that ATC staff are working on regarding water pollution in the Auburn district. The two go out to find the persons listed on the report, maybe in the hopes of learning where Alma's body is. They go to the South River wastewater treatment plant first, where Alma tries to assassinate the Point Man. The Point Man lives despite her attempts, and Alma gets intrigued by him. She begins to come to him at irregular intervals, constantly keeping an eye on him, but never harming him. Fettel and Alma then proceed to the headquarters of Armacham Technology Corporation. They kill everyone at the wastewater facility and ATC headquarters, whether or not they are aware of Project Origin and Alma. Alma continues to observe the Point Man and soon discovers that he is her son. Soon later, Alma and Fettel hear about the Origin facility's location and set out to find it from ATC's headquarters. Along the way, Fettel manages to abduct Alma's sister, Alma Wade, and murder her in front of Alma. According to Genevieve Aristide in the Field Guide, Alma was likely envious of Alice because of their father's special care of her and thus wanted to watch her murder. Harlan Wade releases Alma's actual body, which Alma's presence has revived, and she takes on the form of a nude, malnourished young lady within the Origin facility. Alma kills Harlan right away, and then walks around the complex, exorcising nightmares wherever she goes. Soon, she induces a hallucination in the Point Man. Still, it is replaced with a recollection that exposes Alma to be Harlan's daughter, and the revelation that the Point Man is Alma's son. Alma reaches out to Harlan in her memory, begging that her child be returned to her, only to be met with severe opposition by her father. She approaches the Point Man and tries to hug him, but he is compelled to shoot her many times until she vanishes because her touch is dangerous. When the vault detonates, the Point Man walks down a hallway on his way out of the building. The Point Man is thrown unconscious by the blast and is subsequently located by Jin, Holiday, and Delta Force pilot Bremer and carried on board a Black Hawk by them. There is a heavy pounding sound against the side of the Black Hawk as they examine the mushroom cloud of the blast and the devastation to Auburn and Fairport. When Jin asks the Point Man what it is, the Point Man stands there, watching Alma's elderly, emaciated body arrive in the helicopter doorway, pushing herself inside. Alma's presence is felt significantly more in F.E.A.R 2 Project Origin than in the first F.E.A.R, owing to her mental link with Michael Beckett, who is unaware of his role in the Harbinger program. Parallel to Beckett's telepathic signal, this relationship develops stronger throughout the course of the game. Several of Dark Signal's male members develop obsessive fixations on Alma during the game, as her psychic signal essentially pushes them towards reproductive aggressiveness while she is effectively in heat and desires to procreate with one of them. Alma is now free and motivated to avenge all of the wrongs that have been done to her, picking up where the original game left off. Alma's release blazed a peculiar orange at the end of F.E.A.R. It seemed that her time in captivity only strengthened her. Her body took 6 days to die when she was taken off life support all those years ago, but her mental imprint remained. Alma now poses a threat to the entire globe as she works to remake reality in her image. Michael is a member of Dark Signal, a Delta Force squad. He wasn't a very bright youngster, but as an adult, he sprang into the military like he was born to do so, becoming highly hazardous to a regular person. Like the Point Man, Michael has undergone surgical enhancements almost as though he's being transformed into the image of the man. While he's always had a sharp concentration and fast reflexes, ATC's improvements have effectively transformed him into a superhuman. When Michael stumbles upon Alma on a swing by a tree, he sees her in her ideal image as a tiny girl wearing a red dress. He has a hallucination of a city being destroyed and Alma entering our world before he can get near enough to reach her. All of this happens around 30 minutes before the first game ends. By the conclusion of this game, Alma has been reanimating the troops slain in the previous game. On top of that, there are now mechs, massive mechs that anybody, even Michael, can utilize. The paranormal attacks become more frequent, but Michael saves another of his comrades, Kira Stokes. They are forced to witness while Alma assassinates their master sergeant, Cedric Griffin. Alma has discovered something new about herself in this game, and she wants to tell Michael about it. She lets go of him and takes his hand in hers, resting it over her bloated stomach. Alma is expecting a child. As the events come to a close, Michael hears the kid, his child, murmur "Mommy" in Alma's belly. F.E.A.R 2 Reborn reveals Alma's second son, Paxton, is still alive in some fashion. The player is up against Foxtrot 813, a replica soldier in the game. Alma and Paxton, it turns out, are far too similar. While some people choose more traditional rebirth techniques, Paxton has chosen a different path. Foxtrot 813 is his instrument for returning to the living world. In F.E.A.R 3, the Point Man has been arrested by Armacham Security. He is being interrogated in a jail someplace in South America, 9 months after the events of F.E.A.R 1, 2, and Reborn. Paxton interrupts and frees his elder brother, maybe in his first act as a lovely sibling. They develop a strange bond as they flee together. They are currently reliant on one another to live. They make it back to other F.E.A.R agents, who notify them of what they've missed. In the first game, those who survived the explosion, mainly civilians, were either executed by ATC or driven insane by the area's extreme amounts of paranormal activity. The Point Man still has a mission to complete, to beat his mother, and it appears that Paxton will be by his side this time. They also learn what has happened to Michael Beckett, who is still alive. He's on his way to an unknown destination on an Armacham transport. The transport is attacked by Alma's sons, who deploy any personnel they can locate. When they approach Michael, Paxton, who isn't known for his patience, takes control of him and demands answers. Unfortunately, Michael does not survive the possession, as he explodes as Paxton releases him. In terms of the end outcome, 2 main routes might be chosen. It all hinges on whether the player is Paxton or the Point Man, as both characters are playable. Interesting fact, in co-op mode, the person with the most incredible score determines the conclusion, since the stronger player controls their character's fate. The Point Man, as is well known, has a happy ending. The Point Man and Paxton are still adversaries, and there can only be one of them, much like Highlander. They struggle to outrun each other, and towards the conclusion of Point Man, he defeats his younger brother by shooting him 3 times in the head. On the other hand, Alma is fading away now that the baby has been delivered. Is she a reincarnation? The Point Man exits the room with the infant in his arms, hearing in a transmission that all is finally finished. Almost a year of paranormal devastation appeared to be coming to an end. What about Alma and the new baby, though? In the downbeat ending, the younger sibling of Paxton succeeds in overpowering and dominating the Point Man, seizing him in the evil or terrible end. Before carefully storing the youngster, he manages to take the child from his mother's womb, pledging to nurture this new sibling as his own. Paxton immediately turns on her, fiercely assaulting and devouring her. To this point, the F.E.A.R franchise has come to an end. The final game, F.E.A.R 3, was released in June 2011, and owing to studio disagreements, it is still considered the series' finale because no further games have been released since. In 2015, there were speculations of a possible 4th chapter, albeit it might be challenging to implement. After all, F.E.A.R 3 has 2 endings, each reasonably distinct. If either the Point Man or Paxton survives with the kid, the studios will have to develop 2 routes in the 4th installment or choose one of the F.E.A.R 3 endings as the official ending. What makes her so fearsome? Alma is shown to have the capacity to conjure ghostly apparitions known as nightmares in the latter stages of the first F.E.A.R game. These creatures take the appearance of black shadows and only emerge as an upper torso, assaulting the protagonist with a simple melee strike while simultaneously destroying themselves. They also have a habit of attacking in huge groups. Nightmares appear in Project Origin, although they have a distinct new look. They resemble a human body shade, shining brilliantly with vitality. There are 2 varieties of spooks that appear, one that is just a spook that vanishes when the player gets too close, and another that attacks the player. They don't have an actual body because they can move through solid things to attack the player by dividing into them and destroying them. While they are fragile, they may move quickly and kill the player in a matter of seconds. More creatures are added in F.E.A.R Extraction Point. One is a wall-crawling, spider-like monster with unknown powers because it never assaults the player. The other is an almost invisible humanoid phantom with glaring red eyes that depends on melee attacks and is occasionally observed murdering replica troops. These phantoms also manifest as an emancipated corpse-like apparition during Douglas Holliday and Jin's son's deaths. Kwan's one of these corpses that may be observed morphing into one of the unseen phantoms mid-jump against the double doors in one portion of Auburn Memorial Hospital, preventing the entries from opening and blocking the player from that entrance. Trivia time. Let's take a good look at some of the less-known facts about our beloved Alma. Those familiar with horror films in the early 2000s would recognize where F.E.A.R's creators took Alma's shape, mentality, and even her abilities. The famous Japanese horror film from 1998, Ring, or Ringu, serves as a huge inspiration. Sadako, or Samara, is a scarier and more destructive version of her. Alma, like Sadako, has a lot of psychic abilities, which means she can kill people just by thinking about it. She seldom does it bluntly since she wants to dominate and punish her victims, because she is a vindictive and vicious demon. Eventually, the firearms company Armacham caught on to Alma's plans. They discovered Alma didn't murder because she was still a child with strong values. Unfortunately, Armacham escalated their torture by putting Alma in comas on a regular basis in order to keep her helpless. This continued from her youth until her adulthood. Alma eventually knew nothing but the cold, metallic walls of a facility and the disdainful expressions of her keepers. Armacham, in a way, produced its own monster. They raised Alma as a tool and guinea pig, rather than as a kid with emotional and psychological needs. Alma appears in 3 different incarnations throughout the 3 major F.E.A.R games. They're all creepy and make you want to sleep. Her pale infant form, in which she wears a scarlet dress and has long straight hair covering much of her face, is the first. The second is most likely her natural and current appearance, which is that of a skeletal lady with slimy skin and long greasy hair. The third is a deception in which she poses as a luscious and healthy, but yet ghastly, lady to entice someone. In any event, all 3 types are causing havoc. Alma created the third, or the most attractive version, as she finally identified the ideal candidate among the Dark Signal members. That man is none other than Michael Beckett, the protagonist of F.E.A.R 2. Alma was continuously flinging herself at Beckett, something many players probably didn't realize in the initial playtime. Alma became enamored with Beckett, and it was even hinted in the game that she had formed feelings for him. Unfortunately, she never learned how to be a regular human or speak, and instead relied on her instincts, violating Beckett whenever she had the opportunity. Time for the last piece of trivia. Maybe Alma didn't have the same impact of some of gaming's most memorable villains, but she did earn a nod from The Cabin in the Woods, a tremendously successful horror film. It featured a ghastly girl with psychic talents who could vaporize her unlucky victim. Seems familiar, right? That's it for this video. If you enjoyed the sesh, then do drop in and share the video with your buddies. If you want to know about some other iconic gaming characters, then do let us know in the comments section. See you in the next one! And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone!